Just over 1 year ago, I considered driving off the Auckland Harbour Bridge in New Zealand and taking my life. And the last video that I made on this channel, I had talked about that and kind of talked about what I was doing to get myself out of that place of wanting to do that. And this video is kind of, it's what has the last 6 months been like and what have been the things that I have been able to do to overcome that, and also some really big goals that I have that I'm actually really excited about. So let's start out with moving out. Moving out was absolutely crazy. Like, it was such an adjustment in ways that it's hard to express in words. One is that it made me realize what I wanted in terms of like what kind of environment I wanted to live in, because I had been living in an environment that was dictated by being a couple, not an individual. And what I wanted as an individual was way different than what I was getting as a couple. And that was such an interesting experience because suddenly it went from like having the space that maybe I was always like very anxious in and had a hard time concentrating in, to the space that just felt comfortable and safe all the time. And it's like I didn't even know that that was available to me, because I had gone from relationship to relationship to relationship, or roommate situations that were always so stressful. But because I had done some healing before choosing where I was going to live, I feel like I made a much better choice about who I chose to live with. I ended up living with my best friend, the pretty much the only person who consistently showed up for me the entire time I was going through the medical system in 2021. And it just ended up being such a healthy environment in a way that, like, quite truly has changed my life. Like, living with her has changed my life. She has made such a healthy, safe environment. And I just want to say a massive thank you, Anisha. You have been such a great friend. But it wasn't smooth. I just want to make it clear. It reminded me just how important it is to surround yourself by healthy people. So I moved out. I adjusted, but I still had things that I needed to get in line. I have been living off savings for several years now, and I knew that my savings were going to run out if I didn't start creating some kind of income. And the idea of going back to work just killed me inside. It made me just like I would rather have died than gone back to work. The idea of it just did not feel good. And so I had mentioned in an episode a couple months prior to my last video that I wanted to start my own business. I wanted to start a course for YouTube adventurers. And at the same time I was moving out, I was also going through a lot of belief work about believing that this was possible for me. I had been told that I was living in a fairy tale world, that I needed to be more compliant, that if I wanted to be taken seriously, I needed to get rid of all my tattoos and piercings and stop being a metalhead, and just all sorts of backwards thinking, if I'm completely honest. Not only backwards thinking, but like very judgmental, like not allowing me to be who I wanted to be. And I think I've mentioned previously on this channel that I took a course with Dr. Morgan Anderson. She is a clinical psychologist who created a coaching course around understanding attachment theory and your trauma, and just basically recovering from trauma, because I've mentioned several times on this channel that I have gone through a lot of trauma that I unfortunately carried into my relationship. And so I went through her course, and a lot of what she talks about is belief work. And I was able to find some of my root beliefs that went way back to my childhood, and that I had basically chosen a partner who confirmed those beliefs. Like, I was just like reliving my patterns over and over and over again. And I was just like reconfirming like what I thought I needed to be in life. When the reality is that like the only people limiting us is other people. Like, we're all people limiting each other. And I had a choice to determine like what I took in, like what I actually believed. I didn't have to believe everything someone said to me, but for a very long time I did. And once I got past those limiting beliefs, and once I got past everything everyone was telling me, I finally actually started recording my course. It took me months to get to this point. It was such a journey. I can't even describe it. It was such a journey. And then I started recording and recording and recording and recording. And I launched my course last month. I'm really excited about this. It's not just exciting because I did it. It's also exciting because of the response. There's 6 channels that are in there, and they're just saying the most amazing things about the content I created. Like, they saying it's high quality, which is what I wanted. I wanted it to be like a high quality course that was research backed and like wasn't just me just like putting my assumptions into the air like a lot of YouTube growth courses do. Like, they don't test anything. And like, it was so cool. Like, there's just one channel that they were getting like 200, 300, 400 views per video, and they went through my course, and the first video they launched out of the course, they got 3,000 views. And the one they just launched last week, they've already gotten 1,000. And I had a coaching call with one of the channels this morning, and like, she was saying like, wow, like, you helped me find so much clarity. And I think what I want to say is that, like, people try to say all sorts of things, and a lot of people said, well, why did you think you could do it, Danielle? And the reason that I thought I could do it is just like, how am I any different than the guy sitting next to me? Like, if he can do it, why can't I? You know? Anyway, it's been a journey. It's been a hell of a journey. It's still a journey, if I'm completely honest. I have still a lot of growing to go in that belief work area, but I'm just really just excited that I finally took the leap on myself. I think I'll be sustainable in maybe like 1 to 2 years. I think it's still got a little while until it'll be sustainable. But I've got a plan in place, and I'm following through, and I'm focused. So I hope that one thing that you guys might get out of this, like that part of this update, is just you get to set the standards. You get to decide your life. Like, and if you're letting anyone else decide, well, that sucks, because I've been there. And I guess the only thing I can really say to that would resonate with past me is just keep learning. You have to keep trying to grow and learn, and one day it will click. And just remember that wherever you are at right now, that might be a negative place, even a positive place. It's temporary. The only thing that is guaranteed in life is change. So that's the business update. You guys will also remember, if you watch Sailing People closely, that I mentioned that I have to have jaw surgery. So I was put on the New Zealand public system waitlist, and I was supposed to have my jaw surgery, the process and everything, start in June in 2023, and it just wasn't happening. And turns out, through a lot of digging, calling, following up, and just generally nagging the public healthcare system, because that's the way the system works here, you just kind of have to nag, my referral kept bouncing because the referral attachment was too big, and the public healthcare system could not receive the attachment. So for 1 whole year, I did not get on the wait list because my email was bouncing. I'm not even kidding you. That is actually what happened. It was very, very frustrating when I figured out what was going on. Now I'm on the wait list, and I got an email finally that the process is going to start this month. I haven't really talked about this too much. If I'm completely honest, I am terrified, especially like having such a close interaction with what it looks like to have surgery on this part of your body. When it gets so close to your brain, like, it's just terrifying. Obviously, I haven't been through the experience myself, but I've been way closer than the average population. And like, I've looked up like what can possibly happen, and I'm just scared, if I'm completely honest. I'm really scared, but I'm also ready to get it done and over with, because my jaw gives me a lot of pain, a lot of pain. And I get headaches all the time, and it's just like right now I can feel it's just like tense because it's just set wrong, and it's hard for me to eat food, and it's become harder and harder over time. So I'm ready to get that over and done with. What will happen is in the next couple of weeks, they will put braces in. Then in 6 months after the braces have completely straightened up my teeth, They will break, I believe it's my lower jaw, but I don't know for sure. I've still got a lot of research to do on the process. Then they will reattach it with a metal plate and then keep the braces on for another 6 months. And then keep an eye and see how it heals and stuff. And I won't be able to use my teeth for, I think, like 8 weeks is what I read. So still waiting on that. That is one thing that is tying me to New Zealand for a long time. And there's also another thing that's tying me here, which is really exciting. I'm going to be a citizen in a little over a month, or I get to apply to be a citizen. I've been looking up the application process, and I'm going to talk about it on my new channel. So if you're curious about what it takes to become a New Zealand citizen, that video will be on the Audacious Path, probably around April of this year. I'm so excited. I love this country. I really love New Zealand. I just want to stay here forever, and I have no desire to leave. It does mean though that like from the point I apply to be a citizen until I'm approved, I have to stay in New Zealand. Also, there's like you make a commitment to stay in New Zealand as part of your citizenship application, and I want to honor that, so I will stay in New Zealand because of that as well. Which brings me to my last and final point here, which is my big goal. The last time I spoke, I mentioned, or maybe it was like Christmas last year, I mentioned that I want to circumnavigate New Zealand, and I still very much have this goal to circumnavigate New Zealand. It is 100% absolutely something that I will be doing, but I don't have the money for a boat right now. As long as I am committed to making my business work, as I committed to making my business work, it became more and more clear to me that all of my savings would need to be poured into educating myself, buying the platforms that I needed to put in place to get the business running, and I don't have the money to put it towards a boat right now. It's going to happen. I just want to clarify, it's going to happen, especially with my course launching this month. There's nothing that's going to stop me once I start having an income coming in. But I still wanted to do something. I wanted to see New Zealand somehow, and I wanted to make it more approachable for someone who maybe doesn't have a lot of money, and that maybe is in a similar place to me right now where they want to adventure but they don't have like thousands to fork out on a boat to purchase and then thousands per month to keep it going. So something happened that kind of spurred all of this. I went home to the US and I went up to the mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, and I happened to get on the Appalachian Trail. And I was doing a bit of Googling because I was doing an episode comparing New Zealand and North Carolina. Found out North Carolina has the longest stretch of the Appalachian Trail than any other state. Anyways, in the comparison, I ran across the Te Araroa Trail, which is New Zealand's version of the Appalachian Trail. It's 3,000 kilometers starting from the north of the North Island, going all the way down to the south of the South Island, and it takes about 4 months. And I really, really want to do it. This would fulfill a childhood dream for me. I always wanted to walk the Appalachian Trail, and just the timing never worked out. Things just never worked out, and now I have time and I can do it. Now, to be fair, there are many, many obstacles that will get in the way. One of them, of course, being my jaw surgery, but there's actually a way bigger obstacle that might get in the way. I will be talking about this in an upcoming episode on the Audacious Path, probably in 4 weeks from now. And I will go through all the obstacles that I'm thinking about overcoming. I don't know if I'll be able to do it. I don't know if I'll be able to do it in one go, but I really want to do it. Like, how cool would it be to walk all of New Zealand? So that's kind of the big thing I wanted to tell you guys about. That's kind of like how this year has gone. I was trying to think, like, what could I say that a past version of me would need to hear to sum all of this up, because I know that there are two crowds here. One, I don't know why you guys are here. Sometimes you say really mean things to me. And two, a lot of you have gone through something very similar, and you've, I don't know, it's been really, really cool to get to know some of you, and I'm really sad that I haven't seen the comments from some of my regulars that I got to know on this channel, where you're maybe in a bad relationship that doesn't feel healthy, or you're going through your own medical emergency and you're wondering how to get through. And I guess the thing that I would like to say, that is my lesson that I want to pass on, is one in which when things are bad, remember it's temporary. The only guarantee we have in life is change. And the only person that you're responsible for is yourself. And you might choose to be a caretaker or be a partner or be a mother or whatever it is in life, but you're responsible for your needs and making sure that you get them met enough that you are able to approach the world with kindness and respect. Because one of the biggest lessons that I have learned over the course of the medical emergency and becoming what I feel like is a more wholesome, healthy being is that the biggest thing that was causing me to be, if I'm completely honest, a complete jackass to everyone around me is that I was not in a happy place. I was so unhappy with where my life was going, and I was so incapable of taking care of and honoring my own needs and validating my needs and validating myself. I was so listening to everyone around me that I was treating people like poop. And I was not good. I also was not being treated well in some really, really toxic ways. But I'm not responsible for anyone else's behavior but my own. And like, I'm talking to some of you specifically, and I hope you can hear it, but like, you deserve to be treated with respect always. And I didn't realize how possible that is when you are so aligned with your life. Like, I think of my roommate, Anisha, and she's just like, we just both consistently treat each other with respect, even when things are not great in the house. And just like my friends that I've gained over the last year, like, we're respectfully able to set boundaries in a way that like honors our needs. And as a result of all of this respect, as a result of all this alignment with this new life that I have, I am able to maintain that respect. The reason we nag and do all these nasty things and lash out and treat people badly, and the reason that we're not good partners is because we're not living our lives. When you're not happy with where you're at in life, that's when you start treating people badly. And it takes a lot of looking at yourself, not looking at other people. I spent a lot of time pointing and blaming and saying that it was this person's fault and this person's fault that I was unhappy, when the reality was it was no one else's fault but my own. And there's so many layers to that you can't just possibly talk about in one video. But what I would encourage you to do is to go down that path. Go down that path of taking personal responsibility, and the layers that you will start to learn is mind-blowing in a very, very beautiful way. Yeah. It's funny, I've recorded this video so many times trying to make sure that I say what I want to say. Don't say things that blame. It's hard not to blame when I was wronged, but I chose that situation in the first place, and that is my fault, no one else's but mine. And now I am choosing a life that does not allow me to treat people like poop. It's funny saying that word. Yeah, I think that's all. I think I've said what I want to say. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope that some of you who have been following and commenting for a while are finding your joy. And I hope that those of you who thought it was appropriate to say mean, nasty, judgmental things, that maybe these videos are letting you see another perspective, because I know what that place feels like. And that's not a happy place either. And we all deserve to be happy and treated with respect, regardless of having different experiences in life and different perspectives. We deserve to be treated with respect. Thank you. Happy 2024.